My name is Cauy.
And my name is Harrison.
And we're just two gay Native Americans living in Arizona.
I'm a filmmaker.
And I'm an upcoming makeup artist.
And we both have a love for cinema.
Come join us as we discuss new and old movies.
Welcome to Two Spirit Movie Reviews. Hello, welcome back to Two Spirit Movie Reviews. Tonight we are discussing Saving Private Ryan. Following the Normandy landings, a group of U.S. soldiers go behind enemy lines to retrieve a paratrooper whose brothers have been killed in action. Alrighty, Saving Private Ryan was made in 1998, so that's 21 years ago?
Yeah, that's the year I was born.
1998. Wow, this movie's about as old as you. Nice. So yeah, 21 years.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And, directed by Steven Spielberg, legendary filmmaker. If you don't know who he is, then why are you listening to podcasts? Especially ones about movies. Yeah. Alrighty, so a little bit of backstory as to why we're reviewing such a random movie, especially Saving Private Ryan. So, me and my co-host here, Cauy, are from Arizona, and in the state of Arizona there's a local theater company called Harkins Theaters, and that company hosts weekly Tuesday night classics screenings. It's pretty self-explanatory. They pretty much screen classic movies every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. And this week just happened to be Saving Private Ryan. So I could not resist the offer to go see such a fantastic movie in a very awesome theater, because this movie screened in one of our best theaters in the valley called the Cine Capri. It seats about 600 people, has a full Dolby Atmos system, is one of our largest regular movie theater auditoriums in the valley. So to see Saving Private Ryan, a movie that is notorious for a very aggressive sound mix in such a powerful, big theater, was definitely something we had to jump on. Funnily enough, my co-host again, Cauy, has never seen Saving Private Ryan, so I am incredibly jealous that he was able to experience this movie for the first time in this way.
I know. Well, I felt like my family has watched this a lot during at family dinners and everything like that, because I do remember the title, but I didn't know that Tom Hanks was in this movie. So I was like, okay, this is my very first time watching this movie, and it was so good. This movie kind of reminded me of other war movies that I watched before, and I like watching war movies for some reason. They're just...
Well, no, that's funny, because I was going to say, I don't think, maybe you like watching them, but I just kind of thought that you don't immediately spring for going to watch war movies.
Oh, yeah, it's just, I would say it's for my entertainment.
I mean, I guess. we go with the Hurt Locker logic, war is a drug, so I guess watching war could be considered an addiction.
There was the Hurt Locker, there was Fury.
Yeah, specifically, my other favorite war movie is Black Hawk Down.
Okay, that's another one I haven't seen.
Oh, yeah, that is a terrific movie. I'll have to show that to you. I have so much to show you.
Okay.
Other war movies, there was, I don't know, I often frown upon Pearl Harbor, just because I like it for all the wrong reasons, and it's also not a really good movie either.
I've seen a lot about Pearl Harbor from that Michael Bay's film.
Yeah.
I'm not... Well, this obviously the action scenes are really good, because that's what he's known for. But it was a weird movie.
Yeah, it's weird to say that the action scenes are the best things in a movie about an attack on America. That's like saying, 60 years from now, the next Michael Bay is going to make a 9/11 movie, and suddenly the best scenes are when the towers collapse.
What was the other actor? There was Ben Affleck and who?
Josh Hartnett.
Okay. I wouldn't mind being the widowed wife jumping to the best friend.
Wow. And actually, Josh Hartnett was in Black Hawk Down as well.
Okay,
so,
I see. There was another movie that this sort of reminded me of. It was with those four military men that went on the mission to kill Osama bin Laden. I think it was. I don't know.
Green Zone?
I don't remember, but like they ended up all dying except for one. It was
American Sniper.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? That's a pretty like famous movie as well, and I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen that?
No, see, well, hey, I haven't seen American Sniper. You haven't seen Black Hawk Down. I'd say we're fair.
Okay, good.
But no, Saving Private Ryan is obviously. I mean, there really isn't much to talk about because it is a movie that is. It's been out for 21 years, so for anyone listening to this, we're going to be talking spoilers, obviously. I mean, if for some reason you care enough to get mad at us, it's a 21-year-old movie. Take it easy there, buddy. Yeah.
We should even have to say spoilers.
Yeah, it's Saving Private Ryan. Deal with it. You know this movie, or if you don't, congratulations, you have a movie to watch. Saving Private Ryan was a terrific experience for a couple of reasons. One, particularly tonight, this is, I mean, even when they played the promo for the Dolby Atmos, I was blown away.
Exactly. The movie opening up to the Cine Capri logo and everything.
Yeah.
Like the sound was so good. Like it was actually,
it
was good.
Yeah, no, it was the theater flexing its sound muscles basically, and
I was like, damn, this is, I guess this is it.
Yeah, and especially for people who have seen the movie, I especially me, I was really excited because I knew that I knew the moment I saw this, and that when they announced screenings for this movie in the Cine Capri, I knew I had to see it in this theater, and I think you agree now because that was like,
yeah.
Oh god, the sound system on this was made for this movie.
It was like a bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, like, and actually, I was really super excited to find out that this was the newer release of the movie. So it was the 4K version with a Dolby Atmos mix. So even more so, it's never looked that good before, and it's never sounded that good before, and we experienced it in the theater.
I bet it sounded really good.
Yeah.
Crystal clear.
So honestly, you know, our usual way of doing things with movies, especially when it comes to first impression reviews, is that we talk about, you know, the characters, the plot, the director, you know. But again, this is a movie that we have that has been out for a very long time, and there really isn't much to discuss with the characters or the plot or the director, because the director is Steven Spielberg, and you know, that him himself could be one single 2-hour long podcast, you know. So I think instead we're going to do something a little differently, and I think we should probably apply this to future reviews where we talk about, you know, movies that have been out for a while, you know, classics and other movies that we watch that aren't new theatrical releases, and that we should just sort of kind of talk about what we liked and disliked, you know, kind of not necessarily a review, but more of like a retrospective on an older movie, because, you know, there's probably podcasts out there that have gone through the plot, gone through the characters, especially the director. So I feel let's just bring our own personal views, our own personal reactions to this movie to the front, you know? And in fact, I'm very interested to hear what you have to say. So why don't we just start with you?
Okay, so what I liked about the movie was I loved the cinematography, the way that the camera was following around each and every one of the actors, and also the action scenes. It was really great and well done. Especially, it was giving the actual real in-depth feeling of how it would be like to be in war, and that's what I liked about it. And also the characters, the acting, I could say, on the other side as well. It was really great, and this is a type of movie that kept me like wondering what's gonna happen next, besides me leaving to the bathroom. But this movie it had me gripped, and it was one of those movies where like the characters die one by one. Like you will get kind of like attached to them, more of like not attached to them, but know more about them, to be like, oh my god, I hope this person doesn't die. It's usually like that in war movies. I mean, like example, Fury, American Sniper. It's I like how the acting, the cinematography, the lighting, like I guess everything like that in that nature. It was a really great movie.
Well, yeah, no, the thing about the cinematography is that there's like a whole lot of great things happening with that just by itself, you know. The director photographer or the cinematographer, the guy who lit this, shot this, is longtime collaborator of Steven Spielberg, Janusz Kaminski, and he actually won the Academy Award for it that year for Best Cinematography, and obviously it merits it. And he did a lot of they all did a lot of interesting things in this movie. For one, I think this is the movie that sort of created that signature look for World War II movies, because you know, in the post work done on the movie, they took down the saturation of the image down by 60%, almost giving it like a black and white gritty image. So that was one thing they did, and that obviously inspired a lot of looks. Excuse me. That inspired a lot of signature looks, like especially for the TV show Band of Brothers, which was executive produced by Steven Spielberg as a result of this movie. You know.
Okay.
So, and one thing, you know me and knowing all this little kind of trivia tidbit stuff about it, but you know, they purposely shot this film on 16 millimeter film, and if you can kind of think of it in resolution, 16 millimeter film isn't like the best quality. It's really grainy. It's really rough. Just kind of unclean kind of a look, but it creates like a signature sort of look for whatever you're trying to do. And in true, you know, creative aspect of all this, they used it for that purpose. Because, you know, war isn't clean. War is dirty. War is rough and gritty. And whether you notice it or not, that's why they chose to go with that stock of film, that film stock. So it has like a really intense, gritty look, and it's not going to be clean or crisp like 35 millimeter would, you know. So that was pretty interesting. That was pretty nice. And actually, you know, in that whole Normandy scene, when they're going up on the beach, a lot of those sequences were actually shot personally by Steven Spielberg. So, you know, that's a little fun tidbit in there, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the cinematography is absolutely great. It won the Academy Award. It Steven Spielberg, of course, setting new standards for film, sort of creating new how would you say, styles for future filmmakers to grasp onto. You know, it's all legendary. You know, there's just so much we could talk about the cinematography. But in regards to the acting, did you know that Tom Hanks was nominated for an Academy Award for this?
Yes, I read that.
Yeah, but he lost. I don't know who he lost to, though. Oh, he lost to Roberto Benigni. I think that's how you say his name, for Life is Beautiful, which I haven't seen. So
I've never seen it, too.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you about it. Yeah. But no, especially what you said with the characters, you know, especially with the medic, you know, I mean, I have seen this movie before, but you gotta understand, when I first watched it in theaters, I was like, I don't know, 9, maybe 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
No, maybe 9 years old, whatever. I was a kid, so what stuck with me was all the war violence, the war aspects, the battle scenes, you know. And I did watch it again as an adult on Blu-ray, you know, but I watched it at home, and you know, you have the luxuries of life distracting you from the movie, so sometimes you get on your phone and all the quote-unquote character moments, you know. So this is probably the first time I would actually officially say that I've sat down and watched this movie beginning to end without distractions in a movie theater.
I see.
And because of that, I actually caught on to several things. One being, like you said, those character moments that you liked, you know, the character moments where they make you care about the character just by, you know, a line or whatever.
Yeah.
This is done more specifically with the character of the medic, played beautifully by Giovanni Ribisi, where they're in the church and they're talking about. He starts talking about his mother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
he's all like, my mother would come home from work and sometimes she would just want to talk to me, and then sometimes I would just pretend I was asleep and she would look at me and I know she'd be looking at me and I would be awake and I never said anything to her, and it's such beautiful tragedy because what are the last few words that character says as he's dying?
Oh yeah, he's saying mama.
Yeah, like, that really got to me in the movie theater because, I was like, okay, before I watched it, it was a character just crying for his mama when he's dying. And now because I've seen this movie beginning to end for the first time, that moment with that story made that a much more powerful moment. And I would have probably never noticed that had I been watching it at home this whole time,
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm a huge supporter of these nights, Tuesday nights, watching these movies the way they're meant to be seen in theaters. It's those moments that I miss out on. And can you believe it or not, I never really caught on to the whole the bets, try to figure out where Tom Hanks' character did for a living.
Yeah.
Like that for 21 years. I didn't catch on to that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
they were all betting. Like,
yeah. Well, the whole thing is that you've obviously seen this, but in the movie, they're all trying to figure out where the character of Tom Hanks, what he did before the war, where he's from, his profession, and they were making bets, and it just kept going higher and higher. They made jokes about it.
Yeah.
So like I didn't really catch on to that until tonight, 21 years after its release. It's like wow. So I think it's important to watch these movies in theaters, particularly when I myself say, oh yes, I'm a connoisseur of film, but yet again, I never caught on to this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like you understand it, of how would it be like back in the day to go watch it at its prime.
Oh, and I did, and that's all I remember is the war, Yeah. You know who my favorite character was in this movie? It was Horvath, played by Tom Sizemore.
Oh, that was the one that was stopping the other guy from leaving, right? The guy. From
Yeah, the
Brooklyn.
one is like,
Okay.
I want to shoot you in your face because I don't like you.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
guy.
Yeah. Okay.
He already steals his, everything you need to know about him is told to you in that opening scene. Because, they're on the boats going to Normandy, and there's this guy, Tom Sizemore, and he's just putting chew in his mouth while other people are puking.
So that one, the opening scene was so good. And no, just them on the boat alone, because they know what they were going for. They were fucking shaking, puking, so nervous. Like, it's crazy.
Let's talk about that then.
Yeah.
That opening scene alone is probably its own podcast. But yeah, let's talk about that. You take the lead on this. I want to hear what you have to say about this.
Okay, so the opening scene, I've never seen this movie at all. So I feel like this first 20 minutes of the film was amazing. It was kind of like the tone of it too as well. Like there was rarely any music playing. It was just, you can just hear the waves, the boat, and like the creaking and everything. And also when it was going into the guys in the boat and it was doing a little like a pan out, and it showed all of them puking, showed all of them, like there was one scene where I think it was Tom Hanks' character or somebody else's, but like their hand was shaking like crazy, and I was
that's Tom Hanks' character.
And I was like, this is so scary. So just imagine like them on the boat a long time ago, going for the going straight to that place that they were going to. Mm-hmm. Like it really puts you in that setting. It puts you like in a mood where you like don't fucking talk at all. This is serious right now. And oh god.
Yeah, and this was actually like one of the rare instances where, well, at least I didn't see, where you didn't go on your phone.
Yeah.
Like, I was proud of you, It's like finally a movie that caught the attention of Cauy. Because this bitch goes on her phone every so often in a movie, and that pisses me off. But
not like it's just more of like who's messaging me. But this movie kind of just made me not want to pick up my phone. Like again, like it's it got me right in the beginning, and as soon as the boat came on shore and what do you call that thing?
Yeah, no, like when like the ramparts fall.
Yeah, I would say the ramp. Yeah, it falls down, and right then and there, the bullets, like clear sound inside that theater, which was another good experience about this theater, and also watching this movie as well was the sound. It was like, I don't know, it was just crazy, like pew pew pew, and like you see them all coming out, like being ambushed, like right on spot, and you're in that moment of like, you're in the moment of, wow, like this, you got to be really lucky that day. Like, it's all about luck. It's crazy to just see a bunch of people just go down just like that, like just arriving on shore. It was crazy, and it really put you in that setting, like this stuff really happened.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people say about this movie. And I think we did talk about it briefly before we watched the movie. And this is very well known knowledge, but because when this came out, there was still a lot of living World War II veterans out there, and they went to this screening and for this movie, and a lot of them had to go out of the theater because the movie captured what it was like to be there on D-Day so well that it affected them so emotionally. You know, they said that it brought them back there. It made them feel all that fear again, and it made veterans cry. It made them scared. You know, very real PTSD stuff. You know, and it's great for that reason, because this is the most authentic representation of World War II, I feel.
Yeah.
You know, another movie came out the same year. You know, you got to know. Hollywood always does it in twos, you know, 2 World War II movies. And the other one that came out the same year was The Thin Red Line. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
No? Well, it's a World War II movie, and it follows soldiers in the Pacific as opposed to, well, Europe, where this was. And the big difference is that, I mean, I'm not saying, both of them are great movies, and both of them are terrific for different reasons. Saving Private Ryan was more violent and gritty and authentic, whereas The Thin Red Line was a more poetic, more deeper representation of war, whereas Saving Private Ryan was more on the surface, blunt and honest and truthful and just, you know, violent. The Thin Red Line delved more into the emotional aspect of war and how people deal with that differently. You know, I always say, if anything, Saving Private Ryan is the rock song, and The Thin Red Line is the deep poem, deep poetry of World War II movies.
Okay.
You know, and that's a movie you can watch. I'm not quite sure if you'll like it. I love it. It's one of Hans Zimmer's standout scores for me. One of his most beautiful and memorable, I feel. So that's your call. If you want to watch it, I'll be glad to watch it again.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh yeah.
Oh no. That's awesome. Go ahead. Go.
But I was going to actually agree with you when you said that this movie brought back some PTSD to the veterans, because before watching this a week ago, I believe you told me that the first 20 minutes of the movie was intense, that it made some veterans cry and walk out of the movie. And I actually, before going to this movie, I went onto YouTube just to watch the trailer, and I saw some comments saying the same thing that you were saying. Like, some veterans were crying in the bathroom, and I could see why. During the first 20 minutes, it was really intense. Just again, like, the saturation of the cinematography was gray. Like, it was like lifeless, not lifeless, but like, you know, like just but
not quite black and white, but still with its color.
Yeah. Kind of like a little, like, kind of similar to a flashback setting in a way. But the way it was like the way everything was shot, the part that I really liked in the beginning was when they hopped off the boat and they got into the water, and the camera did a little like underneath the water, silent, and then going back out of the water, and there was just guns and the bombs just going off, and then going back under the water, silent, and then you see people in the water, you know, getting killed or drowning from the equipment that was still attached to them. And I love that part. And then right when that happened, it was that moment of like, damn, this is intense, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm sorry I'm saying like a lot, but it was really crazy. I really loved it. The way it was, everything just went piece to piece. It was a great movie. I loved the opening. It was amazing. It was well shot, well directed. I loved it. The acting was so great too, especially the gore. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
you can't not talk about this movie and not discuss the gore.
Okay, well, it's not a spoiler, but like the one part that made me feel really sad was
Oh, I think I know what you're gonna say.
no, it's just in the beginning.
Yeah, I know.
Well, actually, there was two of them, but one really got me was when Tom Hanks kind of did a little. Well, it's kind of like the sound when something loud goes off in your ear and you just hear that buzzing. It was his character. He was looking around and he sees a guy with the missing arm, and I was like, "Fuck!" Like, it was so sad. Like, I wanted to cry at that point because he was still carrying on. He grabbed his arm off the ground and he still went forward, and I was like, "Shit." That part kind of got me a little.
Mm-hmm.
And there was also another part where he was dragging, I think it was a medic.
No, he was definitely injured, but it wasn't like a medic. It was like just a guy.
Yeah, and
He was bringing him to a medic.
and the bomb underneath him, like a mine, just blew up, and I think it was a bomb. No, not a mine.
I think a bomb just dropped on him.
No, yeah, it was just. I was fuck, and he was just dragging a body, and I was like, fuck, this is intense, dude. But.
Yeah.
It was a crazy one.
Well, it was always the intention of Steven Spielberg and cinematographer Janusz Kaminski to put the viewers in the shoes of these soldiers, and a lot of it, well, I mean, obviously they succeeded because all those shots of them, it could very much have been POV shots of soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have said this before, and I'm definitely not going to be the last to say it, but a lot of people would say that it's as if they time traveled and brought a camera to World War II and just recorded it, and that's what this movie feels like, and they achieved that so well historically, recreating all of these places, all these battles, all these incidents. It's great, it's perfect. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a very powerful opening scene. Scream has its opening scene for horror movies. This probably is the best opening scene for a war movie.
Yeah.
Even to today. It's brilliant. It's perfect. It's pretty easy to talk up this movie because it's well known, it's famous, it's great.
Yeah.
It's easy to talk about. Yeah. But I guess if anything, we can go on to the characters. Specifically, what I want to talk about is Matt Damon. Which, in case you haven't seen it, Matt Damon plays Private Ryan. Yeah. So, here's the funny story that I know about Matt Damon that I just want to share with you.
Okay.
So I forget, there was someone else they were supposed to cast to play the character that played that character. But I think it was actually Steven Spielberg wanted to cast someone unknown at the time. So he ended up casting Matt Damon. And then in the time that he cast Matt Damon to the time this came out, Matt Damon won the Academy Award for Best Screenplay for Good Will Hunting. So suddenly his unknown actor became incredibly famous and well known with that movie. So when this came out, it was just more box office draw, I feel, So I thought that was kind of funny. In that short amount of time, he became famous because a lot of people, because at that time he wasn't. He only, I don't know what he's done before that, but I just know that the movie that brought him into the spotlight was Good Will Hunting.
I see.
So, which, honestly, I haven't seen.
I haven't seen it either.
Yeah. And funnily enough, too, Robin Williams is the one who suggested Matt Damon for the part in Saving Private Ryan. So, because Robin Williams is in Good Will Hunting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, bit of fun trivia for you.
Ooh, I love trivia.
Yeah. And what else? Tom Sizemore has a little not a funny story, it's a sad story. But Tom Sizemore is the one who played Horvath.
Okay, yeah.
The one, my favorite character. Unfortunately, in real life, the actor dealt with severe drug addiction. You know,
Wow.
he really wanted to be in this movie, Saving Private Ryan, but Steven Spielberg made an ultimatum. He said to Tom Sizemore, Tom, you will be in this movie, but you have to pass a drug test every week to be on this movie. And if you fail a drug test, you will be fired, and all of your scenes will be reshot, even if you're 98% complete. And Tom Sizemore agreed. And obviously he was in the movie, so for the duration of this time this was shooting, he didn't do drugs at all. And I hear he did well for a while, but I hear he relapsed a few years after this movie. But
Okay.
you know, I still thought that was pretty awesome.
Uh-huh.
You know.
I have really no much to say about his character because his character came off as like a crazy prick. To me.
Yeah, I mean, he was.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he had his nice little character moments with Tom Hanks, so there was like the more subtler, you know, kind of friendly moments with him. But he is kind of that guy you wouldn't want to fuck with, you know.
Yeah.
Like he could have easily been like a bouncer at a bar, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, but I don't know. I just love his bluntness, you know, the way he just tossed his helmet at the guy at the end. I was like, oh, well, fuck, that's a fucking badass right there. A prick sometimes he may be, but a badass he still
He
is.
was.
Yeah.
The one character that I started to like was the Jewish guy.
Yeah.
The one that played the Jew.
Yeah, I quite forget his name, but I know he's played by Adam Goldberg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked his character.
Yeah, he had a nice little character arc there, you know, especially with the joke with Fubar, you know,
Yeah.
which I never caught on before until tonight. Actually, you know, it's one of those great things of watching a movie in a theater. You always catch on little details, you know.
What the part that I somehow just went blank. What did the beginning of the movie? The guy pulled out a knife. What was that knife symbolize to him? And he just started crying.
Oh, you know, that could be actually interpreted a couple of different ways. And I'm just going to speak just on what I think. I think the most simplest explanation is that, I mean, you know, they fought their way up from the ocean to the beach to the barracks that were firing on them. And I think that was just kind of a delayed emotional reaction, you know, to everything that happened. You know, I just feel that he was reacting to everything that just happened, and that, you know, when he was in the battle, you know, clawing his way up to the barracks, he didn't really have time to emotionally react. So maybe finally this was him kind of entering a sort of like a panic mode and like a panic attack, and where he could finally, his body caught up with his emotions and reaction and reacted accordingly, you know.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, because when they were digging in the guy's like the guy's the guy's jacket, and they brought out the knife, the guy that handed him the knife said something to him, and then I think he brought up his family or something.
Yeah, and again, the first thing, I think that's the simplest answer. And I could be wrong with this theory, but it was actually Vin Diesel that handed him a knife. I don't know if you caught on to that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought they meant Vin Diesel's character when the father was telling him to take their kid.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, no. Oh no. That's Vin Diesel was the one who took the kid.
I know, but I thought they introduced his character there.
Oh no. Yeah, and that's another thing I caught on to, is that he was in the opening battle scene. I thought that was like you. I thought that was the first time the character was in there.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I thought Horvath's character. What was it again?
Horvath? Yeah, it's Horvath.
I thought he handed him the knife. I thought.
Oh.
That's why I got confused there.
But no, actually, no. I have my own theory on that scene, and I think that because the knife that was handed to him, the knife that was handed to him was a Hitler Youth knife. You know what Hitler Youth is?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, historically it's correct. It's basically a bunch of teenagers, children who just sort of was pro-Hitler, you know, just very pro-Hitler. They went to camps, they learned about Hitler, they learned hate Jews. So maybe him seeing this knife was like, because the character is Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe him seeing this knife, all his emotions sort of spilled out because, you know, Hitler Youth, you know, a bunch of teenagers who are taught from a young age to hate Jewish people, gay people, disabled people, people that aren't like them, you know. So maybe that was his emotional reaction that you know, kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that kind of stuck with me throughout the whole movie. Like, I kept thinking, what was... That kind of foreshadowed, too.
Oh, with the knife? He died by knife.
Oh.
Boom. See? I didn't even put that together till now.
You know,
Look at that.
The little bombs dropping off.
And you know what's crazy is I think that was the same knife. Like, he brought it with him. That's where he got it. So then he was ultimately killed by that. Wow.
Yes.
Jesus
okay. Oh
Christ.
my God.
See, now that is brilliant filmmaking right there.
Okay.
Yeah. So, great. See, great. I love these things.
I figured that out, guys.
Who knows? We're really late in the game. Probably someone figured that out the night it came out.
I figured that out 21 years later.
But you know, if anything, I think my first explanation is probably the correct one, where it's just, you know, after going through such a distressing battle, that's just him naturally reacting to it. You know, the adrenaline catches up with you, and then it's like,
yeah, it
and
was
then he
more
starts
of like,
reacting emotionally. Yeah,
it was more of like I survived. That
Yeah.
everyone, because it was crazy.
and that could be a third theory too. That
Yeah.
maybe his reaction was survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
You know, so many people died that day,
Yeah.
so that could be it.
Ooh.
You know?
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, great. No, great catch. I didn't notice that. Knife killed him.
Yeah.
Wow, great. See, look at that.
Another thing, another character. Go ahead.
Oh no, I know you wanted to bring up the scene at the end that sort of pissed you off.
What was the part?
The guy where when the Jewish man got stabbed and the guy didn't do anything.
Oh, that part pissed me off. I know it's like I shouldn't say anything bad about it because, you know, he was not very experienced, and in a war setting I can't say nothing. But like that part, that one is a scene that I disliked too. Was he could have done something. The corporal could have done something about it, but I mean, it was very traumatic for him about everything going on. He's like not experienced at all. He's just an interpreter, and he never even shot a weapon, or he did shot a weapon like in basic, but that's just in training. But he never was actually on the field. But I felt for him too when he just laid on the stairs and cried, and also on the top floor they were fighting. What are they fighting? What are they fighting? Look, what's the army? Not army. What are they called?
What?
The people they were fighting against.
Germans.
Okay, I was gonna say Nazis.
I guess they were Nazis, but that's also a whole other thing too.
Okay.
Because I mean, it's easy to say that all Germans were Nazis, but you know, and there's a whole thing about that historical wise, where a lot of the German soldiers didn't even know about the concentration camps. You know,
Okay.
So you know, there's a whole interesting story about that, where German POWs would be shown footage of the concentration camps, and they were reacting emotionally to what they were seeing. You know, it was very traumatizing for soldiers to see the evil that their government was responsible for, and that's what they fought to make happen. And there was a lot of guilt, and there was a lot of crying, and a lot of shame. And
Okay.
so, I mean, I think in this case, it's easy to call that soldier a Nazi, but it's difficult to say.
Yeah.
You know, particularly given today's political storm. You know, political environment. You know, it's easy. It's easy to say for a modern day German to call all of America Trump supporters. You know, it's like we can't really call every German a Nazi, because honestly, some of them were just people who love their country, who would gladly fight for it. You know, and probably not all Germans hated Jews. You know, it's like some Germans were Nazis, some Germans were just soldiers fighting for their country. You know,
Okay.
I think this film represented that with the scene where Vin Diesel's character dies. You know, because there's that moment where we see the POV of the sniper that killed Caparzo, and you could see he's looking at this man who's dying in the sniper whatever that is.
Yeah.
Sniper vision, whatever. And he kind of resists. You know, he kind of gives a like a sorry look to the, you know, this victim. And, you know, that sort of shows that there is compassion. Oh, there's compassion from all sides of war, you know?
Yeah.
It's difficult to talk about because I'm not a soldier. I haven't fought in any war, and you haven't, you know? And we're only going off what these movies teach us and what they show us, and that not all enemies are enemies. They're only fighting the war that their country has asked them to fight for, you know? There was a line in the movie that was all, I think it was something along the lines of, if God is on our side, then who's on theirs, you know? So it kind of makes you like just think, you know?
Yeah.
So, but that character, the one that stabbed the Jew, I don't know if he caught on to me telling you, but that's the same German soldier that they let go.
Oh yeah, you told me that. I didn't know.
Yeah, no, it was the same guy who was digging the graves and was pleading with his life by singing, well, Star Spangled Banner, you know, just the first few lines.
Oh yeah, he was like, I like America.
Betty Boop, what a babe. Or what a dish, or something. You know, and that's the same guy who stabbed the Jewish person. And it's also the same guy that
got shot.
Yeah, at the end. So it's like, and that's the only soldier that he kills in the whole movie.
Oh yeah.
That character.
Yeah.
So he has that nice character arc. Everyone has nice character arcs, you know. It's really awesome. I love it.
Who was the other guy?
What other guy?
Who was the other guy that Jewish guy got killed with?
Oh, that was just one of the soldiers that were there in the city with the Private Ryan character. The one who got shot in the throat.
Oh, I can just hear him like wheezing. That was so sad.
Yeah.
But that part, that was the only scene that kind of made me like just want to go like, oh, do something. Like he's up there because they were fighting with the knives on, and it's just it was by a fucking knife too. Like it was so. Like, it just made you want to say, like, you fucking pussy.
Well, you know, we say that right now, but there's a lot of character stuff going into it, you know?
But it just made me mad, and I was like, that reason why is because I liked that character. He was the one that was making jokes, too, as well, like, and, I don't know, that was kind of like my person I got attached to.
Yeah. No, I loved his character, too. But speaking of character moments, again, I'm going back to the Matt Damon character. That whole story that he tells about his brothers in the barn.
Oh, that made me laugh.
Yeah. You know, I think it'll be interested to know that that whole scene was improvised. Yeah. Matt Damon did that whole scene just improv the whole way.
Damn.
The whole story he made up right on the spot. Like, for me, knowing that, I could tell where the script ended and where Matt Damon started or began with his story, and then where that ended back into the script, you know? So, I thought you might find that interesting that he improv that whole story.
He's like, she ran out and her shirt was still over her head and she hit the wall and she was unconscious.
Yeah. Gosh, I mean... I think we've covered... I mean, unless there's something else you may want to talk about the movie that we haven't.
Tom Hanks.
There is literally nothing I could say about that character because, first of all, it's Tom Hanks, and everything he does is amazing, even all his bad stuff. And I think I'll just be wasting my breath, and all I can really say is that I love Tom Hanks.
Me too.
And he was excellent in this movie and every movie he's ever been in.
The one part that was kind of made me mad just a little bit. Why did he get? What was the thing he was going for when he got shot?
Oh, he's going for the detonator for the bridge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was going for the detonator so he could blow up the bridge so they couldn't get past him or get over the bridge.
Damn.
Yeah. So even...
I saw that coming, though. Because I thought his character was going to survive, at least.
Oh, because did you fall for the whole fake out? Like, the character in the beginning was supposed to be Tom Hanks, but it was actually Matt Damon?
Huh. Yeah.
You fell for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Matt Damon didn't do much in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, he does his own fair bit. He has his heroic moments, his character moments, But, I don't think the movie really was about him, even though it's called Saving Private Ryan. It's talking more about the action of saving, and the people doing the saving is the Tom Hanks and company,
Uh-huh.
So, Matt Damon was his own player in his own movie. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, if this were two movies, this would be an interesting crossover, You could make a whole movie about the character of Matt Damon, so...
Every time I hear Matt Damon's voice, I think of Team
Matt
America.
Damon. Oh God, and that's why. And not that I don't take this movie seriously, but the opening battle scene has been spoofed so many times. Like, do you watch South Park like regularly?
No.
No. Aw, damn it. The one that really sticks out to me is that whole Imagination Land episodes where oh gosh, if I don't want to spoil that because those are great episodes, but it's just that scene has been spoiled for me sometimes because it's been spoofed, and much like I can't watch Scream without thinking scary movie.
Oh yeah.
It's just some moments in this movie that are from like other spoof movies where I'm like, I can't sometimes.
Yes. Okay, there was one, I forgot what scene it was, but this scene reminded me of a spoof I watched. I'm trying to remember. I totally forgot. But there was a scene in this movie that was like, did I see this before? And I was like, oh, it wasn't a funny movie, but I forgot what movie. But I've seen another spoof movie making fun of that certain scene.
Yeah. Well, no, so that's what I'm getting at, is that it's been spoofed so much. And like I said, I know something I don't take the movie seriously, but there's other movies that have used that for giggles, so it's difficult not to see it. Because I think the whole thing in Imagination Land is that there's like a world out there in a kid's imagination where everything that they could possibly imagine, like character-wise, every imaginary character is living in this world. And then it gets attacked by terrorists. And there's a scene in the movie where Butters is to Tom Hanks' character, and he looks around and he sees I think he sees Santa Claus. He's the guy that has the arm off. So, it's like, oh, God, I can't not see Santa Claus in this movie right now. It was either that or some kind of funky kid character, but it was just, you can imagine that scene. I'll show it to you later, But, I can't really think of anything else to talk about with Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, but it was just a great movie. It's my first time seeing it, so it was one of those... It was one of those movies that kept me on edge of my, not edge of my seat, but like more of like...
Kept you engaged.
Yes,
Yeah.
kept me locked.
Yeah.
Whew. So that was my review of the movie, was that it was intense, it was violent, and I do like violent movies, but there were some scenes that were like, ooh, or just a little bit of the sound too much for me.
Yeah.
Like how metal music would be for me. But yeah, it was just, I loved it. I liked it.
And I guess out of 10, what would you give it?
I give it a 10.
Yep. Same with me. There really isn't much I can say that hasn't been said about this movie. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. It's a classic, definitely a classic movie. A terrific war film, an awesome character piece. It obviously earned its Academy Awards.
5 of them?
All 5 of them. Best Director, Steven Spielberg. Best sound editing and mixing. Obviously, this was the best, example of that watching in this movie theater. Wow.
Yeah.
Best film editing, best cinematography.
Yes.
And the thing about just one little tidbit about the film editing is that this was the last film to be nominated to win an Academy Award that was not edited digitally. So it was edited old style on film, on reels, This was the last film to win an Academy Award to be edited that way. Everything after that was edited digitally. So, a little bit of information.
Oh.
Yeah. Again, longtime collaborator Steven Spielberg, Michael...
Bay. Kidding.
No. Oh God, that's embarrassing. I forgot his name. I know his name's Michael Kahn. Michael Kahn. I was about to say Michael Kamen, but he is a film composer who did the music for the TV show Band of Brothers. That's my bad.
Okay.
And you got a perfect trio there. You got Michael Kahn, Janusz Kaminski, and Steven Spielberg. When those three combine on a project, it's gonna be gold. They've done all of his films since this film. So even Ready Player One. So alrighty. So that's it for this review. I know we've been promising this for the last 2 reviews, but this time we're for real. The next movie we'll be talking about is going to be Hobbs and Shaw. We promise for sure this time, because it's coming out this Thursday and we'll be catching that in theaters and talking about it right after that.
Mm-hmm.
First off, if you hear all this little crinkling noises hitting our car, it's actually monsoon season in Arizona finally kicked off with a bang, and it's been raining all day, so thank God. But sorry for all the little raindrops you hear. We're recording in our car. My name is Harrison.
My name is Cauy.
And this has been Two Spirit Movie Reviews.
Bye.
Bye.
This has been Two Spirit Movie Reviews. If you loved what you heard, like us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. More platforms will be made available in upcoming weeks. Thanks for listening.